let's think about what strategy is. This is not a complete derail of this talk, because I do think strategy is very important, sort of like part of a roadmap. So let's just spend the time on this particular concept, and I hope I can share with you one framework I really like and how that can lead us from a vision to a strategy and eventually to a roadmap. All right. With that, I'm going to just throw in one example I have whenever I think about strategy. And this is my son's sort of like puzzle homework. For those who have kids, you probably know what this is. It's usually a set of like, workbooks, and the kids just go there and figure out how they draw a line from the starting point to the finishing line. So if you take the same analogy to strategy, a simple definition of strategy, I think not many people will debate with me, would be successful path to vision, right? So that's easy to understand, but that doesn't really convey to you how you should do to develop strategy. So let me rephrase this definition a little bit more. Think about if you have to solve this puzzle, how would you start, right? One technique I always teach my son or nudge him to do is like, hey, think about these different kinds of paths you could take. And then when you get to a place where you could have taken 3 different paths, which particular path you want to take. So down the road, when you're really trying to solve the puzzle, it's really about this set of specific choices or decisions to decide. And then once you make those decisions, then you can win whatever the goal you set your mind for. So that's kind of like what I want to focus on. Like, how do you make those specific choices when you face them? And then, before I dive into that framework, just so you know, it's not just you or me may think this is hard. A large amount of executives out there, they think that's hard too. And it's very easy to draft a strategy, but it's a lot harder to draft a winning strategy. So I hope today I could give you some sort of toolkit that will increase your odds to develop a winning strategy for whatever product area you are thinking about. With that, this is just a cheat sheet. I'm not going to go through all of them in this talk, but I will leave it in the slides. Later on, when you finish that exercise, you can always come back and ask yourself all these different sort of like bullet points and checking whether your strategy, for example, is coherent or not, is it simple enough or not, is it very differentiable or not, that sort of thing. And that will also help you sort of like, it's almost like A/B testing. You develop something, but you can have a set of evaluation criteria to see whether you fit the bar you set up. All right, now let's go to the framework. For some of you, you may have, if you have been, to our events in the past, you probably have heard either me or Haimura talk about this framework before. We didn't give a lot of details, but that's something that was mentioned in some of our workshop. And this framework is called Playing to Win. And it's actually from a book written by an executive from PG&E called Roger Martin. And this is really about a set of cascade choices, one after another, to help you to start from something really grand, really principled, and then follow this larger flow to develop something more concrete, more narrowed, more actionable over time. And then the reason why I really love this framework is because 2 things. One, I come from a science background, as I mentioned, and I have to say, like with my physicist mind, this is some of the framework that resonate the most with my scientific mind, because that's kind of how physicists think. We think from the grand sort of vision part, think about what the problem we try to solve, what the goal we want to achieve, what kind of attributes we want to achieve with this whole modeling. And then we sort of go down to constraints and then think about, all these, different constraints we observe or we choose, from the observation data or from our own philosophy. and then guide us to find the specificity of the formula, and then go down from there and maybe design experiment and try to verify it. So this framework, although it comes from business setting, I found that it's also true for scientific setting, which make it double robust. And then another reason why I like this framework is I actually learned this framework from a product manager, I would say product person I really admire, who is the CEO, the founder, former CEO and the founder of Instagram. That's what he really liked to use, and that's what he sort of taught all the product managers at Instagram to adopt back then. And I saw how he used this framework to develop very, I would say, successful product over time. Not to mention Instagram itself, but just to be a little bit more detailed, like Instagram stories, he also followed the same sort of framework. And it was really help him and the team and the whole company to focus the resource to solve something in a very short period of time. So Instagram story, if we don't know the story, how we develop it, it was actually only take like 3 months. And that's almost like unheard of, a very fast speed to develop something that super massive successful. So seeing it being used in real life gave me that extra confidence this framework does works. All right, with that, I'm not gonna just like go through each one of them in a very wordy fashion. I actually want to show you how real life companies, can use this framework to develop their strategy. So I'm gonna give you 3 specific examples. And I also want to spend a little bit of time on the first part, because I think winning aspiration in many ways is where you start this whole journey. So if you don't pick your aspiration correctly, right, then you sort of working on the wrong problem or working on the wrong path, then everything else you do is less meaningful. So with that, I will show you a short video so that would convey what winning aspiration I mean. All right. Let me hope this will play and you guys can hear. If not, let me know.
Ana do Fragman, ayo sana Gina.
Ehal, bintirna ano bestendo trakoi. Ala jigeti mai, ma vijatri atinarma. Bosman ha boskan. Anna bubugag stendo trakoi. Anna gagierie. Anna gagdana lewa, leon. Rei leona. Hasheri Hrize, Vito Kiovi Avesimi Gatsgam. Hasheri Atogri Trivi, Totriani, Kamo Vigronzi, Gitimori. Nachin Mohari Aquarin Mori. Hasheri Vajira Hasita Dan. Sinaso Mikal Droga, that's why me Atari. Sira Givitira Swason.
lot of you who are Game of Thrones fans as much as I am probably have seen this a long time ago. I played this particular clip, not saying that, hey, you guys, if you want to set your vision in front of your team, please, ride a dragon. Obviously, that will give you a very dramatic entrance effect, but that's not what I mean. What I mean here is like trying to sort of hone down these two particular words because I think it's important to understand what they mean. One of the word here is winning. So winning means, something really concrete. It's not just a, hey, let's improve this metric by 10%, or let's sell 10,000 more units. That's not winning. Winning is really thinking about, can you be the competition? Can you be the number one in your industry? And can you delight your customers so much they cannot think about any other product? So it needs to be something really, I would say, exciting. Obviously still achievable, but also somewhat, because the aspect is so deterministic, you can actually paint the picture concretely to the people who are listening to you. So in Daenerys' sense, right, she basically said, I choose you all, give me the 7 kingdoms. And you can see it's very concise. She doesn't really go sort of like talk about, oh, let's, move our troops one by one to this place and let's take down one kingdom and a second kingdom. That's later. You can talk about the specific plan later, but here you need something concrete and short. And on the other hand, it's also important about the aspiration piece, because ultimately as a product person, a leader, when you set the vision, you want your vision to inspire your team and your stakeholders. You want to get them excited. You want them to believe in you. You want them to see that big picture and get really pumped. Can't wait to join you to start this journey with you. And then with that, you have to be really careful about how you deliver that message, how you paint that picture. So in this video, you can see Daenerys actually use some concrete examples, right? She was saying like, would you ride the wooden horse with me across the Black Sea, right? Would you kill all those people in the stone houses? I mean, it's just a couple concrete example, but you sort of make this vision much more grounded. And in the end, she was asking them, are you with me now and always? Again, I'm not saying you should say the exact words here. That would be too cheesy, but you get the idea. So setting the right winning aspiration, in my own experience, sometimes takes half of my time while I'm developing my product roadmap. And then that sounds kind of crazy, but it's not. Because that's the first thing people are gonna encounter when they talk to you or when you try to present this to them. First impression matters. So think about this sentence or this vision also as your launch strategy. It's a launch strategy of your strategy, right? And the first impression matters. Hence, you need to really spend a lot of time tailor that vision. On one hand, it needs to be very accurate to represent what you are thinking about. And on the other hand, you also need to think about how other people will perceive when they see that sentence or when you deliver in other formats. All right, so with that, let me give you some concrete examples. There's a 3 companies I put here. 2 I've worked for, 1 I have not, but I really hope one day I can work for them because it's a very inspiring company. So Wish, they wrote their winning aspiration from the customer angle, right? They think about their winning aspiration is to be this ultra bargain shopping site for value conscious people that are underserved by others like Amazon. So they crafted their whole strategy based on a customer, you can say segmentation analysis or customer positioning. But again, this vision is big enough because they want to serve everyone else that is not served by Amazon. So it's a very sizable opportunity. For Instagram, in the beginning, it's also very clear sort of statement in terms of that winning aspiration, but it's from a problem perspective. What they really try to focus on in the very beginning is this particular problem that people use their phone and can't really capture and share, the moments they capture on their phone because the phone just does a poor job and sharing is really painful. So their vision is like, be that easiest platform that people can use to capture and share what's beautiful moments on mobile. So that's a problem angle. So for people who are working on especially enterprise space, that might be a better angle for you instead of the customers or consumer angle. And then there's also a category company. Those are much more rare, for sure. But it's like they're driven by entirely just a grand vision, like SpaceX, right? They really just want to be that main private firm that to conduct space delivery, and with the ultimate goal of allowing people to live on other planets, right? It's not about developing the rockets itself. The ultimate vision is put people onto Mars. That's the vision. And then go from the vision, then they can figure out the rest. But that vision, once you heard it, like anyone who heard it, you will feel really excited because it's such a great vision and such a bold vision. And when you realize this vision, there's no doubt they're winning. So, you know, winning, aspiration, each word matters. And now, assuming you crafted your beautiful winning aspiration through this exercise for whatever the product or problem of space you're thinking about,